Hi, I'm Binzi Dickinson with Byte Magazine, and I'm here with Aneesh Chopra, the first CTO of the U.S., who is running for Lieutenant Governor of Virginia.
Well, I would say there were three things that I worked on that gives me great pride, and I'll reflect on them. The National Wireless Initiative was probably the single biggest economic prospect of building a foundation for mobile broadband in the country. It had taken a decade or so to get the previous consensus policy on opening up our airwaves for mobile broadband. We were able to get this particular policy through in less than 18 months. So we really worked together across the party lines, had Republicans and Democrats come together, and it was a sense from my point of view about what good policy was all about. We sourced ideas from the outside, worked collaboratively with Congress, and the President signed it into law. No muss, no fuss, positive for the country. It creates a market structure so people today who are broadcasting in airwaves, using up airwaves that maybe aren't used to their fullest economic potential, can essentially auction the right to use those airwaves to somebody else who might be willing to build out a mobile broadband service. Estimates are that this transaction would generate about $28 billion to the government treasury, and in so doing, facilitate the next wave of economic growth on mobile broadband. But the second and third parts of this are equally important. We reinvested $7 billion of those proceeds to build out a nationwide public safety broadband network for interoperable communications. This is the #1 recommendation from the 9/11 Commission. We as a country have not yet implemented. So more than 10 years after 9/11, we finally made good on a pledge the country had made to our first responders. And then third, we set aside about $100 million to spark research and development to leapfrog us beyond our current environment for mobile broadband, and to think about opening up our spectrum for as a shared utility for future economic benefit. And that is something that we're very proud of. But the other elements of what I worked on that I'm really excited about are our Open Innovation Initiative. This is what the President talked about when he referenced change you can believe in. Building a government from the bottom up, ensuring that every voice in America has the chance to contribute to the making of our government policy, and that entrepreneurs and innovators could co-create solutions that will both create economic value and solve our biggest challenges in healthcare and energy and education.
What's the importance of crowdsourced innovation?
Yeah, McKinsey recently wrote a study saying that there are at least 200 new products and services in just the last couple of years born because of their ability to access government data that had heretofore been either difficult to find or difficult to access. And we're just in the bottom of the first inning of a 9-inning game where we will transform the care delivery system powered by open health data.
What was the result of the President's Open Government Initiative, and was there any data that you couldn't release?
Well, there were basically three kinds of data sets that we didn't appreciate. One was information that was already captured electronically, but it was stored in some vault, in some server in Washington. So we made that available in machine-readable form. Second, we created the conditions when data was coming into the government, it would now come in an electronic form and therefore could be made accessible. Previously inaccessible data was now accessible. And third, we've created the policy conditions where entrepreneurs and innovators can now access individual health, energy, and education data sets because of tools like Blue Button, Green Button, and what is soon to be launched, a Red Button for education. Over 1 million Americans have already downloaded their Blue Button file in healthcare alone, launched by my good friend and colleague Peter Levin at the VA, and scaling not only across the government but across the private sector.
What's the importance of crowdsourced innovation?
Well, Bill Joy famously said from Sun Microsystems that no matter how smart you are on any given issue, on any given problem, the smartest person in the world doesn't work for you on that issue. And that speaks to this philosophy of connect and develop that you saw at Procter & Gamble, the notion that there's opportunities to tap into expertise outside of your normal circles of life. And what that philosophy has meant for us is not just crowdsourcing ideas, but crowdfunding new products and services and launching opportunities for folks to solve. We couldn't even imagine the challenges that we've overcome. And challenge.gov is a platform where we've tapped into citizen solvers. Over, I think at this point, 250 individual agency projects have been posted, and student teams all the way up through retired engineers have participated in solutions.
You're making a transition from technologist to politician. Can you tell me what that's been like for you?
Well, I just have this fundamental belief that the country is searching for and ready to support problem solvers over partisans. And I had worked on a number of these initiatives at the White House that requires state leadership for implementation. I believe over the next 5 years, America either will fail or succeed in the big challenges of our day, growing our economy on the backs of startups, strengthening our educational system through personalized learning so every child can compete in the 21st century, and addressing our fiscal challenges by constraining healthcare costs while improving quality. We're going to do all of these things. We're going to do it right, and I look forward to making Virginia the blueprint for the country, a laboratory of democracy where the ideas can be tested, validated, and hopefully scaled across the country in ways that will materially affect our faith and confidence in the American system.
What are the limitations of using technology for politics?
Well, it's not so much tech as a noun as it is tech as a verb. The idea here is we got to build confidence again that we can invent our way out of these challenges. Some of them are very low tech. We're literally going to change the way we regulate or operate a particular agency, or our relationship between politicians, elected officials I should say, and the citizenry. I actually think on any given problem there's a way to do more with less. Sometimes with technology or data, but just the spark or the concepts around innovation are those that I think have relevance in nearly every domain.
What do you think the major trends are that are going to be disruptive in the future?
Well, to me, the big disruptions are whether we can shift our healthcare system to focus on value over volume, whether we can have an educational system that rewards personal success by personalizing the learning experience, and whether we can find a way to rethink our economic development strategies community by community, powered by startups. And those three disruptive trends, crowdfunding, health value, innovation, and personalized learning, are just in their early days of having an impact on the economy, and they will be big.